B2B email marketing, best practices for 2025. Email's role in B2B pipeline in 2025. If you run B2B sales or marketing, you've heard email is dead for a decade, and yet it's still one of the most reliable ways to start conversations and create pipeline. In 2025, email reaches a massive audience of roughly 4.59 B users, competing in an inbox environment measured in the 370 to 390 B messages sent per day. The channel isn't going anywhere. The standards for earning attention have simply gone up. When executed well, email marketing continues to deliver elite economics, with many teams citing around $36 to $50 in return for every $1 invested. That ROI is why email remains a workhorse for outbound teams, SDR orgs, and any B2B sales agency tasked with producing meetings on a predictable cadence. The hard part is that inbox providers and buyers are both less forgiving than they were even 2 years ago. Buyers still prefer email as a channel. About 77% of B2B buyers say it's their preferred way to be contacted, but they're ruthless about relevance. Research also shows 73% of buyers actively avoid suppliers that send irrelevant outreach, which means generic blasting doesn't just underperform, it shrinks your addressable market. The modern goal isn't send more, it's be worth reading. What good performance looks like, and what to track. Open rates used to be the headline metric, but in 2025, they're increasingly noisy due to privacy changes and filtering behavior. For outbound, we recommend treating reply rate, positive reply rate, and meetings booked as the true north, because those are the signals tied directly to pipeline. Opens can still serve as a directional sanity check, but they shouldn't drive your strategy or your SDR scorecards. Benchmarks help you diagnose where a program is breaking: list quality, offer, messaging, or deliverability. Recent B2B averages put marketing style performance around a 15.1% open rate and 3.2% click-through rate, while true cold outbound response benchmarks average roughly 8.5% overall. In practice, most teams land in the 1 to 5% reply band, while top performers reach 15 to 25% plus by tightening targeting, personalization, and follow-up. If your reply rate is weak, resist the default reaction to crank volume. In our experience at SalesHive, volume increases tend to mask root causes: bad segments, weak positioning, or poor deliverability, and can quickly create longer-term damage like domain reputation issues. A healthier approach is to measure weekly by segment and persona, then fix the worst-performing slice first. Personalization starts with the list, not the copy. The best email copy in the world can't save a bad list, and 2025 data makes that painfully obvious. Email addresses decay fast, roughly 22 to 28% per year, and many databases only deliver about 62% valid submitted addresses. When bounces rise, inbox placement falls, and your entire outbound motion becomes more expensive. Start by refreshing your ICP with sales, marketing, and customer success in the same room. Then translate it into smaller, cleaner segments. Segmentation by role, industry, trigger event, and even tech stack makes your message inherently more relevant before you add a single, personalized line. This is where a disciplined SDR agency or outbound sales agency earns its keep. The segmentation work is unglamorous, but it's the foundation for everything else. Once segments are tight, you can add scalable personalization that actually improves outcomes. Personalized subject lines can lift opens by about 26%, but the real win is downstream. Better targeting produces better replies, better positive replies, and more meetings. The common mistake is trying to personalize with shallow tokens while still targeting the wrong people. Buyers can tell, and they disengage fast. Deliverability is a shared KPI between sales and RevOps. Deliverability is the silent killer of B2B email performance, and it's not just a marketing ops problem anymore. If you're running outbound at scale, whether in-house, through sales outsourcing, or with an outsourced sales team, your technical foundation dictates how many prospects will ever see your message. That means inbox placement, bounce rate, and spam complaints should be reviewed alongside meetings and pipeline in weekly revenue meetings. In practical terms, your baseline setup should include sending subdomains, correctly configured SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, gradual warm-up for new inboxes, and strict sending limits per mailbox. List verification must be non-negotiable because high bounce rates are one of the fastest ways to throttle a domain. Another common mistake is rotating new domains without fixing the underlying targeting and copy issues, which just repeats the same failure faster. Compliance and recipient experience matter too. Identify yourself clearly, avoid deceptive subject lines, and make opting out easy. When you treat opt-outs as a healthy signal, you reduce complaints and protect long-term sender reputation. This is one reason many teams pair email with cold calling services and LinkedIn touches. A multi-channel approach reduces pressure on any single channel and keeps email volumes in a safer range. In 2025, the winning outbound teams aren't sending more emails, they're sending fewer emails to the right people with a reason to care. Write for replies. Short, specific, and easy to say yes to. Busy buying committees triage email on mobile between meetings, so your job is to be understood in seconds. Aim for 50 to 125 words, one clear idea, and a single low-friction CTA, often a simple yes-no question tied to a specific problem. If your SDR can't skim it and summarize it in 5 seconds, your prospect won't either. High-performing emails follow a consistent logic: relevance, why you chose them; context, a real observation or trigger; credibility, one proof point; and a clear ask. The mistake we see most is writing product brochures disguised as emails, feature dumps, multiple links, multiple CTAs, and vague value props that could apply to anyone. Relevance beats eloquence, and clarity beats cleverness. Subject lines matter, but they're not magic. They're a promise your first sentence must keep. Personalization can help, but only when it's rooted in real context: role, initiative, trigger event, not superficial tokens. If you need a mindset shift, treat every email like it's competing against 100 internal threads and vendor pings, because in a world of hundreds of billions of daily emails, it is. Sequencing and multi-channel. Email as the backbone. One-off emails rarely win in 2025. Sequences do. Most high-performing outbound programs run 6 to 10 touches across roughly 20 to 40 days, with the majority of replies coming from follow-ups rather than the first send. The common mistake is quitting after 1 or 2 attempts, then blaming the market instead of the cadence. Email works best when it's supported by other touches that create familiarity and trust. A practical mix often includes LinkedIn outreach services, selective calling, and light intent-based prioritization, with email staying the consistent narrative thread. For teams that lean into B2B cold calling services or a cold calling agency partner, the goal isn't to replace email, it's to reinforce it with timely human context. The sequencing principle is simple: vary the angle, not the identity. Rotate between an insight, a short proof point, a relevant resource, and a direct ask, always staying inside the same positioning and ICP. When your sequence is coherent, prospects experience it as a helpful storyline rather than repeated nagging. Use AI to scale relevance, not to spray more volume. AI can be a force multiplier in outbound, but only when it deepens relevance. The best use cases are account research, summarizing trigger events, drafting prospect-specific openers, and helping reps prioritize who to contact next. Used this way, AI supports the fewer, better emails approach instead of turning your program into a spam cannon. Guardrails are the difference between helpful automation and robotic outreach. Lock in messaging pillars, approved claims, and templates, then use AI to generate 1 to 2 custom lines that prove you did your homework. The mistake is letting AI write the entire email end-to-end without controls, which often creates generic language that gets filtered, or worse, damages brand trust when it reads as obviously synthetic. When you combine AI-assisted research with tight segmentation, you can lift engagement without increasing send volume. Many teams report meaningful engagement improvements from smarter automation, but the sustainable gains come from personalization quality, not email quantity. If you're evaluating a cold email agency or sales development agency partner, ask how they operationalize AI without sacrificing deliverability and message consistency. A 30-day plan to improve reply quality and meetings in 2025. If you want fast, measurable gains, start with the fundamentals: ICP, deliverability, and scorecards. Refresh your top 2 to 3 segments, verify your data sources, and make reply rate and meetings booked the primary outcomes you review weekly. This shift alone prevents teams from optimizing around vanity metrics like opens and raw send volume. Next, rebuild a small set of core sequences around brevity and follow-up discipline. Keep initial emails under 125 words, write a single CTA, and ensure every follow-up introduces a new angle, insight, proof, resource, not just bumping this. Then set a monthly performance review where you kill or redesign the bottom quartile of sequences so poor performers don't quietly drain your domains. Finally, treat Outbound as a system, not a copywriting exercise. If your team needs to ramp faster, new territory, new ICP, or no in-house SDR leadership, partnering with SalesHive as your B2B sales agency can compress months of trial and error by combining list-building services, deliverability engineering, and trained reps across email and cold call services. Whether you build internally or outsource sales, the winning playbook is the same: protect deliverability, earn attention with relevance, and optimize around conversations that turn into meetings.